Hey, welcome to SureFire Live. Hope you guys are doing good. It is busy season and it feels different to me this year, especially, I don't know, there's something different about it. There's all kinds of reasons it's different. And tonight, actually, Alan Rush is going to join me. He joined me last second. I was talking to him about the topic tonight. I said, "Hey, man, I got some time. I have some really good insight on this. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. So this is a two-way conversation. You guys say hey to me. It always makes the conversation go better. I do this for you guys. If there's something that you want to talk about, it's kind of an open chat with Mark too about the pressures of busy season, the pressures of really any business going through this time, and the good and the bad about it. Got my first comment. So this is the winner for the first comment. Good evening. Wishing everyone a great and wonderful holiday season. Thank you so much. Yes, it is entering into the holiday season. This is my favorite time of year. Actually, I love it. Some people hate it. I don't know why you would hate it. I mean, I think you make it what it is, and I love it. I love buying gifts. We're planning our Christmas parties for all the different companies, and so they're all lining up. And it's I love it. I mean, it's super fun. Today we're planning all the gifts for my upcoming Christmas party on the 10th for Ashbusters, on the 11th for my chocolate company, I think on the 12th for the powder coat company. But man, how fortunate. I can remember not that long ago when I couldn't afford to buy any gifts for anybody. I say not long ago, it's probably 15 years ago or so, when I was just absolutely broke. And then here we are having multiple parties, and how fortunate we are. And then Brad says it's buying season. That's right. So we're going to talk about that. To me, it feels different. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my company. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's the economy. So I want to talk about buying season this year. So, but again, I mean, holidays are important to me. I think as you get older, you try to want to slow everything down. We were just on a meeting earlier today, and how fast this year has gone. Last night, my wife and I went through the schedule of this year, because this has been an amazing year for us, just to travel and do a lot of things. And I just started going through the schedule like every week. What do we do? This thing happened. That thing happened. We went here. I had a surgery. I had this. I had that. So it's funny. It's still 2020, right? Yeah. God. I mean, isn't that crazy where 2020 is now years ago? I mean, I struggle with this a little bit, trying to slow the speed of things down. That being said, we lost a couple members of the chimney community with Dave Hanna passing and Charlie Quayle passing. I talked about Charlie last week, and there's an older generation in this chimney world that there's going to be a run on us guys. There's going to be a run on the first generation chimney guys, and here it comes. So I don't wish that on anybody, but we're all starting to get up there a little bit, and that's just we do not win this fight. It's just we're here temporarily, and it comes and goes. So let's bring on Mr. Alan Rush. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man. What's up?
Oh, how are you tonight?
Nice, depressing intro. Appreciate it.
Oh, I was so happy for the holidays, and then I'm like, hey, we're all going to die.
Yeah, right.
Get over it. You're going to die.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for joining me. So, the reason I wanted to bring you on, got another high mark, and thank you guys. I always can read who this was later unless you tell me. So I don't know why it does. I think you have to give them permission, and then I can see your name or something. But anyway, so Alan, we were talking about this season, this year feels different. And you're one of the most knowledgeable guys I know that goes to different companies. So I'm kind of in my own bubble. I work with a lot of companies, but only from a distance. Sometimes I go in, but you're in every day, and you see a different version than I do. You're on different parts of the country. I think you probably are in more chimney companies than anybody in this country right now. There's nobody that travels and you're in the homes every day. You feel, maybe tell me if this is true, the change in people's buying habits from COVID pre-COVID, COVID now. So talk about, I have Mike Fazy. Hey, buddy, the fresh spider jacket. That's right. Costco. I
Look at
love
that
it.
little emoji, like looking fly there.
Look at Mike with this picture and everything, man. He's so sexy. Wow.
That's two men you called sexy today.
I know, I'm just feeling that side of it. I told Alan his eyes were super blue tonight when he had a new ring light on. I'm like, wow, eyes, look how blue they are. And then so here's actually some Facebook user. You have to give it permission, but then it auto gets permission to your friends, messenger, etc. You have to manually shut it off. It's a little bit less than safe feeling. I get it. I'm sorry. And then Mr. Chuck Roydhouse is listening. Hi, y'all. With the Buffalo. Hey, Chuck. Thanks for joining us. So, Alan, tell me what's happening out there, man.
Well, I think, people forgot what 2019 was. I think that's really the summary of it. I've probably received, 6, 7 calls in the last just 2 weeks, just saying, hey, man, just want to know, are other people slowing down a little bit? Like, are you hearing similar things? Are you?
The tornado sirens going off.
Oh, what's that?
Tornado siren.
Sorry, we've got a tornado siren going off. So I'll be right back. Let's make sure everything's good. And then if you want to take over for just a second.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, man. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Stay safe. Yeah, no problem. All right, so he's in the middle of a talk about things change quickly. He's in the middle of a tornado warning. So anyway, he'll be back. Hopefully be back. Oh my God, talk about crazy stuff. All right, so I think what he was about to say was it's kind of like we forgot what 2019 was, how it felt, and then we've had a crazy buying spree during COVID and all the money, and everybody was absolutely buying everything we had. And I'm talking about me personally, our company. But this year, we've noticed we're down in sales overall from last year. Sales percentages are okay for us, but a little down. But what's really down is the size of the jobs per opportunity. So. And that's down pretty good amount. We're still busy with work. It just changed from really big work, everybody saying yes to everything, to everybody kind of saying yes to some of the work, or we're going to put it off. And I'm watching, the thing. So this is Vince. Vince says, are you seeing a slowdown? We are seeing a downturn. So I'm wondering, Vince, are you saying downturn, like scary downturn, or just kind of not what it has been? So for me, I'm not seeing a downturn. Now I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. There's a lot of things that are happening here, but I've heard, a lot of people are seeing a downturn, like the phones have slowed down quite a bit. Alan's back. Let's see how he's doing.
Hey, we'll see. Yeah.
Do you need to do anything and be safe? I don't want to.
No, we've got the room prepped. If we got to run, I'll run. But just a precautionary siren. I'm looking at the radar. It's, we'll see.
Okay.
You know how it is, Tennessee, man.
Oh, I was thinking you were in Florida. Yeah, you're up here with me. I better check my radar. I know it's getting a little rainy outside. I forgot you're right down the road from me.
Yeah.
Well, I'll watch for it. So anyway, I kind of went off on your 2019. It's not 2019. We went through, COVID where everybody's buying everything. And then I said, what I've noticed is my sales numbers are down. My sale per opportunity is down. They're not buying the big do it all thing. They're like, what do I need to do to get by, or I'm going to wait? Like, what are you seeing out there?
Man, I tell you, it's I wish there was an answer. I think that would give people more comfort, but I'm seeing the exact opposite of what you just said. I'm seeing exactly what you just said. But just kind of finish where I was saying 2019, I think people forgot that holiday season. If you go back and look at your numbers, and that's what I've been encouraging everybody to do, go back and look at 2017, 18, and 19, and you're going to see there is that little bit of change in, and if you're not tracking your numbers, you may not be able to see this as well, there is that little bit of change of people that buy on the spot and the average sale number going down, right? The holidays come, people are spending money on credit cards, they're buying gifts, they're wondering, and we still like it or not, there's a lot of predictions that there is some sort of potential recessionary thing still coming in 2023. Europe is already going through, I think, 2 quarters of GDP contraction, which technically is a recession. Germany which is really the biggest economy in Europe, is going to have the biggest projected loss in 2023. So I think there's a lot of just unknowns. I am encouraging all my people, as long as you're not leveraging to stupid, that keep the gas on, right? I mean, I think we're still seeing plenty of business. People are just don't leverage yourself into a situation where if you had to slow down or break a little bit, that you'd be in trouble.
Right.
So, but to answer the rest of that question is, I think a lot of it has to do with the market, and a lot of it has to do with the salespeople. I've got some people that don't know how to do anything but hit grand slams, right? That's all they know how to do this is everything. And I've got people that know how to back into either the Band-Aid or into the check down or into things. And those people that have developed those skills to say, look, yeah, we can do that. And that'll get you through this short period of time. Or, we've got financing, we have whatever these other options are that, look, man, this is never going to get better without addressing it. So we can either go ahead and bite the bullet now, spread it out over some years, or, we can, play it safe. And I think I'm seeing both sides of that play out in the market. Man,
Do you think it's the company like us? We're a very high priced provider. Are you seeing it in, like, do you think it's the area that the people are in, the personality? So, a technician in Milwaukee saying, hey, people aren't buying up here. I mean, I'm getting shut down left and right. And I got other areas that people are still buying. Or is it us? Like, what do you think it is?
I think it's a little of both. I'm getting that same thing. I'm like, man, I've never seen it like this. These last couple of weeks have been scary. Like, I'm getting nervous, that kind of stuff. And I've had people go, look, this is just kind of what we expect it to be. But I actually just did a shameless plug here. I just did a weekly video that'll come out in a couple of weeks on this. And I got to give credit to John White, who is with Billy Sweet Chimney Sweep. He called it the rush bump. And, we were talking last time I was there that when I go out in the field with the guys, no matter where they're at, we see this huge jump. Of course, we sell while we're there, but we also see this huge jump in their sales for about a week or two. And then it starts to come back down, and it usually finishes right above where they were.
I call it a rush infection.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a rush problem.
So the fact that I see that, and I could bring probably 20 of my clients on here, and they would all say something similar, that when you're here, dude, people are excited, they're killing it, we're selling, and then when you leave, there's a little bit of excitement, and then it slows down. So that's a big part of my 2023 business, is working on that year-round, monthly kind of reinforcement stuff to kind of keep that happening. But because that is happening regardless of the market, that tells me that it is a people person more than it is a market person. Because I can go into a market, follow the process. Little Fazy's on here, just out at his place. I mean, we had I'm not on the numbers, we had a killer week, one of the best weeks in his company's history. And then, it was just up in the north, and we were, hey man, our guys are really struggling. We go out and we sell 80 grand, in a week. And so I really think a lot of it is we are getting beat down as salespeople. And the more that people say no, the more we expect to know. And I never expect to know. Like, I assume you called me, we are doing this. And I think the more no's you get, the more passive you get in the process, the more you accept it, the more you almost volunteer the check down. And you're kind of doing a self-fulfilling prophecy of your sales keep going down because your confidence and optimism is almost expecting it.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I got a couple of more comments. One, Chuck Wordhouse says people are less inclined due to economic pressures catching up with us. Welcome to 1978 to 1980. Jason Fox says, we're up 20% from last year, which was 20% more than before. But however, the cost of inserts and stuff has shot up where it's going like that. we will do this now and that later instead of all at once. Right. So they're kind of piecemealing. You're putting a proposal together and they're saying, hey, we're going to do this now to get through. We'll do that later. I'm getting a lot of that too. That's a weird thing that we haven't seen for a while, is that piecemealing together. And so then also remember 18% mortgage rates. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine, but yeah. So I want to tell you that. So we raised our prices multiple times this year. We had multiple changes in our structures and how everything worked to keep up with everything that was going crazy. Now some of that's starting to come back down. We're starting to follow it down a little bit and changing things. But I can tell you for sure, and talk about confidence in the sale, because I can tell you my guys are a little gun shy and not super confident when they would sell this bottle of this stuff to you last week for $5 and this week it's 12. Here, enjoy this. I highly recommend this at $5, and now it's 12, but it's amazing. Like I feel like they lost something in that. And can you talk to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally you're not your customer, or you are not confident in the price point. You don't personally see the value in it. Therefore, of course, that's going to translate to your customers. And we've talked about this, I think, on a different episode. It is fascinating to me that I've got markets that sell the exact same thing for such a vast variety of pricing, right? And I'll use the example of heat shield. I think it's something that a lot of us sell. And I've got some people that sell it, let's say, a 15-foot run for $3,000. And I've got some people that sell that same for $8,000-9,000, right? And then so what's the difference, right? What is the absolute? If you were to take that $9,000 person and put them into the $3,000 to $4,000 market, they would probably double the sales, because they couldn't believe how much value it was. Oh my God, you're selling this for this cheap? What a great lifetime. Never worry about it again. Research. I mean, there's so much confidence in that. But then you take that same $3,000, $4,000 person, put them into an $8,000, $9,000 market where they're not used to that. Then all of a sudden the value is not there for them. They struggle. They feel the price pressure, and that therefore it translates to their clients. And so until you absolutely know for sure, well, let me rephrase that. It's technician consultant. We've talked about it a million times, right? If you are going in there saying, here's what's broke, here's what you need, then you are going to feel that price pressure of that product. If you go in there and the customer says, here's what I want you to do for me, or here's what I'm looking for out of this appointment, Alan, and you say, look, here's all we got to do that. And if we choose not to do that, that's fine. But here's what's going to either you're not going to be able to do or going to continue to happen. Who cares what the price is? And I think we're getting way too much into our heads of kind of getting beat down, and we're becoming too price conscious. And I'm making this number up, but I would say on average, my clients have raised prices 30% over the last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we've almost raised them 100%.
So there you go. So when you have that, and we've talked about Little Voice Mastery, and it's a great book if you've never read it. It's just the idea of you're in your own head. You're not your customer. You're comfortable at a certain level. And now the game has changed. And therefore oh man, I'll never sell it at this price. They just basically just cut my legs out in front of me and from me. And that's a personal thing. Like literally the price does not matter unless you make it matter.
One thing that, I definitely saw the Alan Rush bump too. When you came through and you work with one of our techs, and he sold more than he'd ever sold. And can you talk about what he discovered with you? Because we talk about it, we do it, but it wasn't until you were with him that he actually, I don't know what clicked with him or what happened, but can you?
You talking about the most recent gas trip?
Jeremiah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that technician versus gas is a different animal, right? We could almost spend a whole day talking about that. But there's a mindset of, are you a guy that's going to go in there and fix it, or are you a guy that's going to go in there and provide the best solution for the customer? And I think that gas technician, or that mindset, is the person that goes in and says, hey, this is not working. Let me do all this diagnostics and let me just fix it for you. And I think, coming from a consultant standpoint, goes in and says, hey, man, we've got roughly a 15, 20-year-old set. Once we're starting to get to the point where we're looking at parts. That's sometimes you got to replace a part even to find the right part. And, we can go down that road if you want, but the technology has changed so much with the type of ignition systems and the type of fuel usage and all the options. And so versus going down this road of inspecting and diagnosing and chasing parts, I've got a set on my lot. Here's a video of it burning, and we can go ahead and get you up to today's technology. And I think that was a conversation that was happening way later, like almost an hour into the appointment, where I tend to have that conversation right up front about what are you wanting out of this. And I think and then the other side with him is blinders of what's an opportunity and what's not an opportunity. We were there for a vent-free box on one unit. And, how much can you do on a vent-free box that's already got logs, it's already got a remote? But hey, what do you know? Here's a dryer vent. Or hey, what do you know? There's another masonry chimney on the other side. And so just kind of opening our eyes to the other services that we offer to people. And then once you have that servant mindset and you're not in that technician mindset, then I think things tend to open up for you.
One of the things that I talk to the guys about the pressures of busy season, and one of them is just burnout. Let's just say you have, 4 visits a day. That's what we schedule, 2 before noon and 2 afternoon. And we used to do 6 and 8 and way more than that. I see my cat's behind me. But you kind of get into a rhythm. You get into blinders. You get into, and then one of the things my guys get into is that I've got 4 jobs today. And one of the things I told them recently was, you don't have 4 jobs today, dude. You got 4 families to take care of.
Exactly right.
You've got 4 situations that people are trusting you to make sure they're safe at. I need you to not look at this as I got 4 jobs and maybe I can get done at 3. I got 4 families that are trusting me to take care of them. And I need to take it to that level of serious every time. And I know that can be hard because the pressure of busy season and doing all this stuff. And now you got to do Christmas shop and all this stuff. But in the moment, you need to have clarity of what you are there for. I mean, how easy is it to just phone it in and go, yeah, man, chimney, camera, I didn't see anything, or nah, I'm not going to do the camera. It looks good. It's a prefab. I don't need to get on a roof. Looks good. Next.
Yeah. Well, and again, I feel like you're talking right into videos. I'm shooting right now. I shot like 3 today because I'm going on vacation tomorrow for the next couple of weeks. And one of the things is, like, if you are not growing, or you're not selling more, or you're in a slump, or you've created bad habits, the first thing you've got to do is say why, right? So is it truly, this is just a job? Is this what you just said? Is this another number? Is this one of 4 people?
Yeah.
Are you so comfortable that the outcome doesn't matter? Right. Literally. And I think that's such a big one, man. Whenever we get to like, business is good for chimney sweeps, man. A lot of these guys are making more money than they've ever made in their entire life. And they're comfortable. And when we're comfortable, we don't want to grow. We all know that pain is like the number one motivator to make any type of change. But when we're complacent, it's one of those things like, hey, man, if I just go and do these 3 sweeps and I do the service, I'm making decent money. And, I don't want to add pressure. I don't want people feel like I'm selling to them. And we just lose the entire, what you just said, man. Why are we even in this business? We're going into people's homes. We're dealing with live fire, gas, carbon monoxide. It's such a serious obligation that we have. And when we just discount it to, I've got 4 jobs or, 3 jobs. Oh, here's another day, another grind. And when I get up, alarm goes off, do it. And then, man, it's such a disservice. And I think we lose sight of, why we're in what we're in. And if you don't have that empathy for people, that genuine desire to find out what they want and help them get it, to be their resource and expert, then you're gonna burn out very quick.
I think a lot of owners have that, and we just hope that our technicians pick up on that. I think a lot of owners, the reason we are in this, because we feel that. I don't know that anybody said, you know what, I'm going to get in the chimney business to get rich. I think you said, and sometimes some people do get rich, but that's not normally why you get into it. You get into it because you like helping people. It's something you figure out to do. I've said this a lot. The more knowledge you have, the more superpower you have. But then when you translate that down to your employees, they're in it for a different reason. They are in it to make money. They are in it to provide for the family right off the bat. They're in it to see what, and so there's a loss. And I can, again, in the pressure of busy season, when you got customer after customer, like I used to feel I knew everybody I serviced, like I really knew them. I remember them. There's people call me. I serviced them 25 years ago. I still remember them. I remember their house. Like I made those memories, and I'm not saying I'm special. I'm just saying there's a different level of what we're doing. Like my friend Chris Adair, Chris, whenever we golf, anywhere, he could remember every hole, what the hole did, the shots he made to the hole. And I couldn't remember the damn name of the golf course or anything. Like we were playing the same game, and he could look back. He goes, "Remember when we played on September 19th? And I took that 5 on that par 3. I'm like, no, he remembers it like I do chimneys, like I do customers, because he cares about golf way more than I do. I'm just out there to hang out. And to me, it reminds me of some of the employees are just there to do the thing.
Yep.
And to me, somehow I have to make it personal. And have you found ways to, through the burnout, through the pressure of busy season, what do you see, or what could you tell people to make it matter?
Yeah. I mean, if you go back to the Rush Profits Monday Morning Meeting Minutes version, Getting Personal, we talk about this in that episode. But, I mean, honestly, the idea is, are you going in there and are you diagnosing the chimney in the fireplace, or are you getting to know a customer? And that's really, really the question you have to ask. And I have I don't know if I call it a rule. It's just part of my process, is that you've seen my folder on my phone. I literally have probably 70 photos now in my Getting Personal folder that has anything you can imagine about my life, like my acting stuff, my stuff whenever I've been to Europe, whenever my dog, my grandkids, my wife, my kids, like you name it. I have something, sports teams, Titans, that whenever I find something in a person's house that they have a similar interest as to what I do, it is every single appointment, and anybody that's been out in the field with me will vouch for this. Every single time I pull out my Getting Personal folder and I show them that we have similar interests. Oh my gosh, you're into red wine. My wife and I, we went on our 25th anniversary. We went to Napa. We went on this Napa wine train. Oh my God. And you just start that conversation of getting to really know that person, because, it goes back to Ziegler and to all these people buy from people they like, right? And even if they choose to not do business with you at the end, you're going to get a more honest conversation with that customer as to why they're not doing it, versus feeling like it's a business transaction and they're saying yes or no. They feel like they can at least have a conversation with a friend. And if they truly believe that you're there to just help them get what they want, there's no selling in it. It's like, man, if you don't want to do this, totally cool. Just understand this is why you called me, and this is what would need to happen to do that. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Just understand what we're talking about here. And that's a much easier conversation to have when you get personal.
Yeah. Today I had a super hard conversation with a longtime customer, and it really upset me, but also helped me. And so this lady, gosh, we've been taking care of her since probably 2012. She's not just a customer. A customer buys from you, you don't see him again. Then you've got fans that will buy anything you've got. And then you got advocates that buy what you got, and then they tell everybody about you.
Yep.
This lady is a true advocate. She's in PR. We are her people. Ashbusters, if they say do it, she does it, and she tells everybody you got to use them. Like, she is the premium. My one technician that's been taking care of this customer for the last several years, senior technician, he's out with a knee injury. He's got another technician that's never been there, shows up and sees a bunch of stuff, especially exterior, that was missed. And my senior tech had a knee issue, hasn't been going on the roof. I think he flew a drone once, but he's comfortable with that customer. They know him. They'll call him. He'll swing by after work. Nothing safety-wise necessarily was wrong, because he always did the internal inspection. He didn't get on the roof. and she's got 2 chimneys that need work, and we missed it. Like, this isn't like 1 year of damage. This is years of damage. She paid for the inspection. I got a senior guy out there, very good, helps train, like, he's very good, but he started phoning in a little bit on the roof trip. Again, he has his reasons. He's got a knee. He thinks he can see it. He may fly a drone. No reason behind it other than I have to have this conversation. She goes, Mark, you're our guy. Your company is our company. And to see that you didn't see this, it's painful for me. I said, painful for you? I agree. Here's the deal. I'm on the hook for anything you want me to do at this point. I'll freaking rebuild that chimney at no charge, because you are us. We are you. We have to be in this together.
Yeah.
And she was great, but I can tell you, comfort in any level can be a terrible thing. In fact, let me show this TikTok. I think that's what this is about. It's John Maxwell. It's real quick. It's about four things that make people change. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick and see if this is going to play. Is this going to play this way? No, can I play it? Play. No. Hang on. Give me one more second. How do I play this? Here.
People change in 4 different seasons. This is a whole leadership talk, okay, that I can do for about 2 hours, but because you're so smart, I'm going to do it in 1 minute. Honest to God. If I was with most congregations, this would be a series. But you're just smarter. Okay, here we go.
I love that. And to me, in that, receive enough that they're able to is really a good one. But pain is the one, again, that we talk to a lot. And I feel that there may be some pain coming, and change comes with it. And it's forced change. Here's my problem. Before, when I ruined my business, I wasn't fast enough to change. And people don't like it when you change, and they also don't like it when you don't change. Mm-hmm. So how you change the people during a hard shift is key. You must change to save the business sometimes, but it's the way you change. To me, the first when I did it wrong, I just put it all on me. I stopped paying certain bills. I stopped paying myself. I stopped doing all the things. Oh, somebody said they couldn't hear that video. Could you hear the video, Alan?
Oh, I heard the first like 30 seconds.
It was quick. It was only 30 seconds. So maybe it didn't play right. Oh, you're breaking up, Alan. You're frozen in a really cool way.
Yeah, it's storming pretty bad here.
Okay. Do you need to get off here? You okay?
No, I think we're okay. It's just thunderstorms at this point.
Yeah. So I'm sorry if you couldn't hear that. The guy, and I'll talk about it again later, but let me just say real quick, I want to show a couple more things here real quick. Remember that we must survive to support employees, families, have systems to combat the changing selling landscape. Just like the NFL has a different playbook for next week's team. To quote Alan Rush, tighten up. Tighten up is actually.
Tighten up, baby.
I think this emoji, why I want to show, it means preach. I think that's what that means. Is that what that means, you think? Can you see it, Alan?
I don't know. I do see it. I don't know.
I think it means preach. Another one, mindset and attitude correctly applied solves the client's needs once, resulting in a win-win for all. Attitude is a reflection of character. Character is a reflection of habit. Chuck had a business that sold. I mean, his guys, per truck were making that connection. So Chuck comes from a point of very much knowledge in this game, and then very much knowledge. That's really well spoken. And then this also says I cannot hear anything on the video. Okay, so anyway, so I messed this up, didn't change. I was starting to say I put all the weight on myself. The guys were saying, hey, I can't sell anything. People aren't buying out there. The economy's terrible, Mark. And then here we go. We're just going down, down, down till to the point of crashing us. At one point, I was about to miss payroll. I said, guys, this gotten so bad. I haven't paid myself in 6 months. I even brought in to the room one time. I said, I know I don't show you guys this, but I'm going to show it to you. It's a stack of all my checks that I can't cash that are written to me as payroll, as a salary, and not all in bonus and anything else. I have not cashed my checks to make sure everyone else has checks. I just did that to tell them I'm suffering with you. And by me laying you off or having to fire everybody, it was the last straw I had. I could not play any more cards that were on my shoulders, and I had to play the final card. But I totally blame myself for not making those adjustments all the way down. I just kept believing things are going to come back. They're going to get better. That is a terrible strategy. And if you think this downturn, you have to make changes, make the damn changes. Don't wait thinking it's going to be better. And so do you have any thoughts on that situation or what you see out there on that?
Am I lagging still or am I back?
You're back.
Okay, so so a couple things. Yeah, man, I agree with everything you just said. And to go back to your story of that customer, it reminded me of Ken Blanchard's Raving Fans book. It's the whole idea of how do you make your customers raving advocates, basically. And if you ever read that book, it's by far a must read. And then the other thing, and this goes back to a little bit of management and Chimney 101, not to call out your company in particular, but we see this all the time whenever, what is the value of a previous customer in a technician's mind, especially if they were the ones that sold them the majority of the work already. Right. One is that, it's like, well, I've already sold them everything. Or two is, man, and this is where it gets into ethics and honesty. I can't tell you how many times I have been out on a previous customer where a heat shield was pulled or a smoke chamber was parged, and we run the camera and they're running the camera and I'm right there with them, and I see a little missing mortar in a joint or something, and they're like, whoop, they just kind of slide right on by it because they know that, hey, this is going to all come back on me to do the warranty work. And if that's the case, not the right person for that job.
Oh, they got to go. I mean, you've got to be. But to me, on this guy, and I could be wrong, he was so comfortable with the customer that he let that relationship. The relationship was more important than his actual checking it every time. I've seen this chimney 5 years in a row, 5 times. Yep. I know it's fine, and it wasn't like that.
We'll get back to the story we had years ago with the guy that was going to paint the single flue cap. You remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, as a previous customer, I was like, why am I going on this call? It's like, we've kind of already sold everything, but hey, whatever, we'll go. We'll, get out of that mindset of, what I'm, do what I preach. Right. And so we go out there, and sure enough, I mean, there's a little bit of deterioration on the exterior, and I had a single flue cap, and it was starting to rust. It was galvanized, and the guy went up, he pulled the cap down, and he thought he was doing a value add service to this customer by getting out a can of spray paint and going back to his truck, and he was making this single flue cap very, very pretty for this customer that they had a good relationship with.
Yeah, I remember this now, yeah.
And I'm like, man, what are we doing here? I was like, it's like, is that the right solution here? It's like they have a pretty good size. Well, yeah, man, we've already sold our heat shield. We've already, even more reason to sell a full coverage cap. Let's protect this investment that they've made. And well, I've been here for several years and I've never brought it up. Hey man, new guy's with you. He noticed something, whatever. Let's just figure it out. And so we went and talked to him. It was a very easy conversation, and basically whatever it was, an $1,800 cap later versus a spray painted Band-Aid that was not the ideal solution because we were so in the zone with that customer that we couldn't see past our previous visits.
Yeah, that's good. Oh gosh, I just drew a blank on what you just said because we do that all the time. Oh, I know what it was. Like some people are like, hey, I have a hard time telling somebody some bad news, and we've been there before. And like, well, a couple things. One, chimneys are a constant state of change. Number two, our technology's gotten better. Three, our training's gotten better. We see things better than we used to. I can tell you 10 years ago versus today, camera systems, our training, our knowledge in our situation, SureFire helps people talk chimneys so much faster than they ever did. So I said, don't be afraid to go into that conversation. And what we did, back then, 2005, 2006, whatever, is totally changed. And we say, hey, this isn't any good anymore. I don't mind if you have that conversation.
Right.
Same thing happens with medicine. Hey, we don't use that drug anymore. Hey, we don't use that old equipment anymore. Hey, we've learned that this doesn't work well with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with having the conversation of something that has changed over time, especially in a non-static environment like a chimney. It's changing, and we're changing. So, hey, it didn't burn down, didn't catch fire, didn't cause an issue. This is the new reality today. That shouldn't be that hard of a conversation.
Why do they call you every year?
Right.
I mean, this is literally the reason they call you, is if there is something new, a safety issue, or there's something they need to know about, they're calling you, the expert, to tell them about it.
Right.
I mean, it's really that simple. Which
now, sometimes they don't want your expertise. Sometimes they don't want to tell you anything different. They're like, hey, man, everybody said it's fine. It's been fine for 30 years, that thing.
Sure.
How do you handle? I know how we handle it. How do you handle? Hey, it's been fine for 30 years. Last 5 technicians said it was fine. Now you tell me it's a problem. How do you handle that?
Hey, man, doctors used to give kids cocaine for pain. Things change.
I used to give my kids cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, we learn. How many doctors ads do you see people smoking? Endorsing their favorite brand of Winston's or whatever. I mean, the whole reason we have codes and standards is that we learn, and that we learn from previous mistakes, and that's the reason we have it. And I do have to give full credit to his name is slipped. I want to say it's Cody, one of Bart Ogden's guys. Man, he used that in a role playing session whenever I gave him the 30-year objection, and he was like, "Oh man, things change. We used to give kids cocaine. What are you gonna do?"
That's good.
I was like, it's like I'm still in that. I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
To answer that question specifically, the way that objection, once you get it, is you can do what I just said, but that's an objection prevention type of deal, right? That you should never get that. So whenever you're scanning the chimney with the customer, and they're there live during the scan, and we're showing them diagrams, and we get into a smoke chamber, and we see that it's unparched, or we see that there's issues. I always at that point say, Mark, remind me again, when did you say this house was built? 62? Okay, well, that makes sense. Back in the 60s, this was pretty standard construction until they realized that we had safety and performance issues with this type of design. And then I'll go through and explain, residency time, and the bricks transferring heat into unknown areas and performance. And so basically, we've learned over time, this is the hottest part of the fire. We're getting these little pockets of fuel here. So no matter what, before we can use this fireplace again, we're going to want to make sure that this is smoothed out with a high temperature mortar, so we get maximum performance and reduced any type of heat transfer into unknown areas. And so that way, when they get to the end and they say it's been fine and again, yeah, it was, and sure, grandfathered, all those things, but there's no grandfathering safety, and we've learned from that.
This is a hilarious comment right here. I don't bring up cocaine and cigarettes enough to my customers.
Well, see, that's why you attend SureFire Live. You learn.
You learn the best sales techniques right here every week. That's hilarious. Oh, it's so funny. So let's flip the conversation a little bit. We got about 15 more minutes, and I appreciate you hanging in there through a tornado and storm.
Yeah, it's all good.
So well, before we go on, I'm going to add one more. There's another comment come in. Biggest impediment to sales as the technician is the technician mindset. They must think like a homeowner, relying on our expertise to protect their investment and family so they can enjoy the system. That is a great point. Let me just say one thing. I have my crew. I'm having a reasonable up here in this bedroom. I'm having my kitchen downstairs done. I had one of my own masonry crews come in and put up this stone around my fireplace and around my kitchen area. But one of the helpers went out into my yard, into my mulch bed where I've paid thousands of dollars for landscaping and trees. He set up a tarp in my mulch bed to cut the stone, right? And he's a Mexican guy, so he doesn't speak great English, but I got a family of Mexicans, they are family. And so I went to basically his boss and I said, hey, luckily today I am having new mulch brought in. So sure enough, about an hour after, the big trucks arrive and redoes it. But I said, man, I would be pissed. One, good thing it's not a customer, but two, your thought process, to Chuck's point, is thinking like me. You're not thinking like me. I've paid a lot of money to make this landscape look like this. And now you're just using it as a work site, like cutting stuff in there. And now all my bushes are white. There's white in my dark mulch. Like, think like the homeowner. To put yourself in my position. Don't tear my house up. Don't tear up anything while you're fixing the thing. Where's the dust going? Where's the spray going? Where's the wind going? Like in a vacuum, like thinking like the homeowner. Talk about that.
Well, let's hear about your silica plan.
It's great. It's a good one.
Yeah, this
is a real stone, so no silica.
Yeah, sounds solid. Yeah, I mean, 100%. Chuck's hit it. I mean, and if you remember, probably, gosh, we've been doing this 12 years now or so, 11. Whenever we first met, that was always my thing, right? Is I did not want to know chimneys. I did not want to learn the technical side of chimneys because I wanted to be able to think more like the customer.
Yeah, you said that right to my face one time.
Yeah, I mean, that was the truth. I wanted to be able to, if you talked over my head and you said things like corbelline and parging and clearance to combustibles and airspace and all these things I didn't understand, I wanted to be able to react like a customer and literally like, yeah, what are you talking about, man? And then just through osmosis, now it's, of course you're going to learn things along the way, but you have to look at it from the lens of the customer. I mean, it's so hard to separate yourself from this. You have to really go back, and we all make jokes about it, right? When someone thinks of a chimney sweep, what do they think about? I mean, they legit think, Dick Van Dyke. They think, Mary Poppins. They think dirty. They think soot on your face. They think all these things. And so you have to do everything to realign those expectations that this is a completely different world. And I think it was John Caesar or someone had one of the best ads I think I've ever seen where, then and now, where it was the chimney sweep with the sooted face and now the guy with the respirator and the hard hat and all that stuff. I mean, protect the tradition of our trade, but at the same time, understand that it's not what your customer typically thinks it is.
So with homeowners, I have noticed, and we got now about 12 more minutes, I've noticed they're getting meaner. I feel a meanness. I hear it on the phones and I listen to my girls talk to people and the way they talk back to them. And I'm in the South, man. The people are the nicest here, but I can hear like an edge and I don't know what it is. Is it me? Is this something I'm coming up with?
I'm not seeing that a ton. I don't know if that's just process. I mean, of course we all have rough customers and and you can almost tell from, if you listen to the recording, if you record software, when people are talking, go, oh, well, here we go. This was going to be a tough one. I don't even want the inspection. I just want this. Like, here we go. Right. And so, you're going to have some of those, but for the most part, I think, getting to know people on the front end and making it about them. What do you want? How can I help you? Really does kind of minimize some of that. Now, when you get to the point where real estate and, home inspection, certain things like that, where you're messing up their deal or you're providing a service that they thought they wanted, but they really don't. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, I'm not even signing that, that kind of stuff, you can create some rifts, but for the most part.
Okay. It's just us.
Yeah. For the most part. I mean, I think, I've not noticed a trend more or less in that. In me.
Yeah. Like, people give us bad reviews like super quick because we were too expensive. We get a 1-star review because they call for pricing and we're expensive, 1 star. Like that should not be a 1 star. That's our service price. If you don't like it, call around.
Yeah.
And like, on my chocolate company, people are like, "Oh, these are too expensive. Who would pay that?" I'm like, why do you feel the need to just run, husband, father daughter business down
Yeah.
and try to hurt our business with your opinion of negativity?
Yeah.
And I had a lady that called and couldn't get through the other day. She sent on an online schedule. We returned her call, but she forgot that. I can never get a hold of this company. We did have a phone issue on this one day for sure. And I said, "Hey, on the response, yes, we had a phone issue. So sorry. We're changing phone providers. The voicemail is filling up super fast. We didn't know that. We did get your online form, responded, didn't hear back from you. But 1-star review, like there's a quickness. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm getting jaded.
Well, maybe people are too pent up from COVID. They're just getting a little too wound up. But yeah, overall, I'm not seeing that. But I do know all those things you just said. I have seen for sure.
Yeah. So somebody agrees with me, not you, but somebody 100% agree. Thank you, Facebook user, not Alan Rush.
21% agreement.
To the degree the meanness happens each year as wait times increase, along with immediate need of the service. Yeah, that's true too. That's true. Yeah, and I think too. Oh, this is so funny. That wasn't the worst typo ever. So if anybody follows me on Facebook, I posted this week of my worst typo ever. And in fact, I'm going to show it. If you didn't see it, if you did see it, bear with me. If you didn't, this is pretty classic. Let me send it to my computer real quick so that we can all be on the same page. Let's see, where is it? It's on my phone somewhere. Not there. Oh God. Oh my God. Oh, where is it? Hold on. This is terrible. I should have had it ready. I'm just going to explain it. Come on. I got to be able to find it. I know I saved it. Where is it? Hold on. Talk for a minute. Just make up shit.
Oh, this is fascinating.
Yeah, I know. Here it is right here. Okay.
This is good TV right here.
Yes, it's good TV. All right.
And I've had, I think that's definitely probably one of the worst, but I had one person's name who was like, I don't know if it was an Indian name or whatever, but it was like Ashwin, like ASH8. ON or something like that, and it got corrected to "Hey asshole," and I just
no.
And that was the way the whole thing started. And I was like, "Oh, that's not going to end well."
Well, the one time we were putting somebody, and they said, "Hey, we were going to say, hey, we'll take care of you ASAP," but it changed to, "We're going to take care of you ass ape." So let me pull this up. All right, here's this. You can't see this, so let me hit share screen. All right, so I get an email in the morning, and the email says, "Who you calling bitch?" And this is from, can you see this? Yes. All right, so it says, the guy's name is Butch B. "Can you provide an estimate?" I said, "Hello, bitch. Please call our office and we can either provide an estimate over the phone, blah, blah, blah." And he writes, "Who you calling bitch?" So this happened last week, and it was the absolute worst typo I've ever had. I went on to apologize profusely.
Couldn't have been the first time that's happened.
Well, and then later he said he was messing with me when he said, "Who you calling bitch?" He said it happens all the time because you and I are right next together on the thing. And I had woken up to this email said, "Who you calling bitch?" But I realized I did it at night, and I was getting ready to just check out. I did not proofread it, obviously. And so anyway, so thank you for reminding us. Somebody says, "Dad cried reading that."
Good.
A 1-star review is definitely increasing. It seems people instantly express their displeasure their displeasure that way, as if there has become a sincere lack of patience. When you would think after the last couple of years, they would have gained some, right? Like, everybody understands there's a problem getting people There's a problem on supply chain. There's a problem on all of that. And you would hope people would have some grace, but again, 1-star reviews. And then here's Fazy. I love 1-star, too expensive reviews. Helps qualify your customers.
Nice.
So anyway, I love that picture of you, Mike, by the way. That is classic. Like, that's funny. I love that. Anyway, so yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I don't know what's coming. We all have to put a pin in this. It is busy season. I think this is a time of year you see where all your systems, if you've got an issue, your systems are breaking. Where they're breaking, I try not to fix anything right now. I try to ride with the quarterback we got in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. Let's ride this out. Now, in spring training, we're going to fix this. Here comes the weather that you got a little bit ago. It's beating on my windows now. So, but to me, this time of year, I don't try to change anything unless we are bleeding and it needs triage. We're riding with what we've got. We're riding with the team we've got, and we're going to fix it in the spring and summer. And that's when we use those months to roll out new programs, new systems, new vendors, new commission structures. Like, all the new stuff doesn't happen now. And I see people that try to change software in October.
Yeah,
they
terrible.
try to add a new technician in November that they just hired. Like, to me, that just is not
do
worth
it.
it.
Do I have the ability to share a page? I've
Yeah.
never tried it. If I hit this present button, is that?
Yep. And then hit, you pull it up on your site, then share, then hit window, and you can do it.
Hit share screen.
Yep. And then
Let's see here.
you have to click window. You have to have it open another window, share the window, and then we'll see it.
Gotcha. Let me see if I can do this here.
Talking about my fascinating TV.
Yeah, right. I don't know. This is not wanting to. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Got it. So I'm gonna just show this because I just did. I know this feels like a bunch of weekly video plugs, but I think it's a good tie-in up to let's see. Can you see this?
Yeah, here it comes.
So it's kind of what we were talking about before a little bit, but I had always heard, and I think just about everybody had probably always heard that, it takes 21 days to change a habit. And so I started really kind of researching habit, read all the books. And then, this ended up being a misquote from Maxwell Maltz, who was, I think it was 89. He wrote Psycho-Cybernetics. And so first it was Ziegler, and then Maxwell, and then Brian Tracy. And then all these people started picking up this thing that he wrote in the book, that it takes 21 days to change a habit. And what he actually said in there is it takes a minimum of 21 days to make meaningful change. And so this kind of got, we've probably heard it a million times, this 21-day thing. And so I started doing more research on this. And there was this, social psychologist named Philippa Lally. She's in London, England, and she's wrote a couple papers on habit, mainly around health and diet and all those kind of things. But she got published in the European Journal, and like basically her findings on habit was it takes anywhere from 66 to 254 days, depending on the habit, to change. And so when we start talking about people that are going through sales slumps, or people that are getting frustrated, or people that are going through creating these habits, or trying to make meaningful change. Hey, Alan came out and rode with me for a day, and we need to, he says, I got to start setting advances, or I need to start making follow-up calls, or I need to start whatever it is, right? That there's no short-term fix to that, right? That has to happen for 2, 3, and then in some of these cases up to 8 months before that actually gets ingrained into a changeable thing. And so I think a lot of frustration happens in training when people expect that, hey, I learned this, and then I'm going to go out and make that happen. And so I think that's exactly kind of what we're seeing right now. And then the worst part about it is let me get back to the screen here, is the more sales slumps we get into, the more we change our habit to the worse. the more we try to shortcut, the more we try to discount, the more we try to get to the end faster, the more we try to not to waste our time, because I've already seen this movie and the ending sucks, right? And so we kind of it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of continuing the slump versus going back to the actual sales process and saying, which one of these 40 steps am I not doing anymore? Which one of the am I? And we tend to blame everything but ourselves, and blame the system, blame the price, blame the products, blame the customer. And the reality is, you just got to accept some responsibility that you're probably not doing all the steps that you need to be doing. And sure, there's going to be ebbs and flows in that, but habit does not happen in a short period of time. I mean, it takes meaningful work daily to see that happen.
Also too, great success gives you bad habits. Like when it's super easy to sell, you're like, I don't need all of Alan Rush's 21 things. I think 4 is fine. Welcome. Hi, what's your problem? Here's the price. I know you're going to do it. If not, then you weren't our customer. Like this, this rush of work that we all had. And Tim Reed says, when the tide goes out, you see who was skinny dipping. Yeah. The tide feels like it's going out a little bit. And when the tide went out on us before, and then I lost everybody, I had to go out myself and sell. All of a sudden, everybody was buying again. I'm like, wow, this wasn't as much of an economy thing as it was an us thing, and a comfort level. When things were good in 2005, 6, 7, everybody's like, oh yeah, everything's great, and then wham, I kept those same bad habits. You keep those same bad habits, you're going to ride it right into the ground, and that's what happened to us.
I 100%. I think this is probably a good thing to close on, is that with SureFire, right? One of the trends that we see in SureFire is people reaching out in October, November saying, hey man, love it, but I'm really struggling to have time to have my guys train because we're so busy right now. Right?
We see a drop off.
We see people either pause or, hey, I'm just not going to, my guys aren't logging in. They can't. And so, man, what a absolute mistake, right? And this is something this is not a SureFire thing, no matter where you get your training from. This industry is taught for so long that we train during the winter and the spring, and then busy season we run. Well, it's like if you're a coach, use our Titans here. If I taught you a play in February and you're not going to use that play until September, what are the odds you're going to execute that play well, right? Whereas if I teach you that play the week before the game or the day before the game, you're going to remember that play way better. You're going to execute it way better, right. And so the time you need to be training is during the buying season or the busy season. And so it's such a mistake, guys. So if you're especially, and I'm biased to this obviously, but especially sales training, sales process, habits, all those little things. One thing's codes and all that, but to get into why people buy and staying up with the trends, what all the people watching this today, they're obviously engaged into continuing to work on their craft. But man, if there's a message out there for business owners and technicians, is this is the time to train. This is the time to hone your game, because you're going to get the biggest rewards out of it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Last couple things. Hey, we changed software in October 3 years ago. It was a nightmare, but on the bright side, with the call volume, we had it mastered in a week. Yeah, I'm sure that was absolute hell to deal with while you're doing it. But yeah, that happens. No matter what, a software change is hard. Chuck says, now's the time to document and plan for course correction in 2023. Yeah, document what's wrong. What do we got to fix? I've made a list of all the things. My God, next year I'm going to be so busy. All my companies have all these trainings and all these things to fix for the next year, but that's what we do it. He says, one exception, do not let your safety SOPs be lax.
Yeah.
Running on empty this time of year is right for mishaps.
Great point.
And then the last one says it's taking time, and I'm far from polished, but it's working. Thank you, Alan, for all you do. Great way to end it. Thank you, Alan, for all you do. I think
Mark, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for braving the storm with me. Thanks for everything you do though in this industry. You jumped in this industry. You were going to not be in this industry, and this industry just kind of roped you in.
I'm a taker.
And you're a taker, yeah. You take with the best of them. But thank you for all you do. Everybody that works with you, and I know there's only so much Alan to spread around. I know you don't take any business advice from me. That's cool. But yeah, but don't scale. Whatever you do, don't grow.
I took the name.
What's that? Yeah,
I took the name.
the name.
It could be SureFire
All
Dog
about
now.
Rush Profits. It's all the same. But anyway, man, love you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Talk to you soon, man. Thanks. See
Yeah.
ya. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. It's always fun talking to Alan. We talk a lot, and it's always interesting. He always brings another line of thinking that I've been friends with him for a very long time, but I always appreciate what he brings, his candor, his humor, and his knowledge, wisdom about how to get this point across. And it's a fact, when he does come to us, we see a bump, and whoever he goes out with, they may or may not like him, and he knows this. So I've had problems when guys don't want somebody riding with them or whatever, or they think they're being judged. But if the guys will really relax, accept Alan's there to help them only and help the company, man, there's results that happen. So if you're starting to see that slow down, you better look internally at your processes, get out there. Don't let this thing go as far down as it can, as if you're like hands off and go, man, I hope it'll get better. It'll be fine. Don't ever think that. That's a terrible process of a way to think about how hope is not a business strategy. All right, guys, that's our time. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for responding and all your questions. It makes this show so much better. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.